First off, I would like to say it's an honor and of course a great pleasure being here today. My name is Jonas, and I usually say that I work with digitalization in the construction and real estate business. But nowadays I understand what I actually do is working with change management. Today I'm going to show you guys how IoT, BIM and FIM can be useful for ICA through our properties. But first off, I'm going to start with a quote. And the reason why is because I believe this is more true than ever. Let me show you an example. Does anyone know how old Siri is? She's going to turn 8 years next year. More than 7 years ago, Apple said this is going to change everything. We're bringing voice control to all our devices. And this is where we're at now.
So how can I help you?
Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd.
Sure, give me 1 second. Sure, what time are you looking for around?
At 12 p.m.
We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15.
Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.?
Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for?
Just a woman's haircut for now.
Okay, we have a 10 o'clock.
10 a.m. is fine.
Okay, what's her first name?
The first name is Lisa.
Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Great. Have a great day. Bye.
Pretty amazing, right? And when I see this in the first quote, I start to think, how long have you been talking about BIM? I, for one, have been talking about BIM my whole career. And I truly believe that now is the time when it's happening. If there is one slide I would like you to remember from my whole presentation, is this one. It shows linear transformation versus exponential transformation. And linear transformation is pretty easy. If I would ask you to step outside, we're going to take 30 linear steps, you would figure we're going to end up about 30 meters. But if we were going to do the same with 30 exponential steps, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. A very few of you would say we're going to end up 1 billion meters away, which is 26 times around the globe. That's the difference between our ability to project linearly and project exponentially. It's what's really causing this disruptive stress, because as humans, we think linearly. But right now, the digital world is changing exponentially. A basic example, let's take the music industry on the linear line. It starts with an LP record. Then we have the tape, and of course, later on the CD. And for a brief moment, we even have a mini disc. Let's take a look at the digital transformation. It starts with a file. And of course, we enter this Napster, Pirate Bay era. And somewhere around here, the music industry raised their hands and said, like, we don't really like this transformation. And then Apple created like 200 iPods. And it all starts or ends with Spotify. And Spotify kind of changed the whole game book for a whole industry. And I can't really tell you where the construction and real estate business are at this slide. If anyone can, please find me later. But what I can tell you is that what happens after the lines crosses. digital disruption. And I've seen there are so many companies that enter this red zone on the linear curve, but very few of them exist today. And there are some companies that know that on the linear curve, and they want to go to the exponential curve. For example, one of them is Volvo. I drive a Volvo, and a couple of months ago I ran into some car problems. This was, of course, during rush hour in the middle of Stockholm. But luckily for me, my Volvo is equipped with Volvo on call. It's a service button in the ceiling. And when I press this button, Anna pops up in my speaker system. And she starts off with a couple of questions such as, am I hurt? Is anyone injured? But what strikes me the most is that Anna knows so much about my car. Even more than I do. She knows where I'm at, where I've been. She knows for a fact that I do have a car problem. And she also has a solution. She tells me it's a flat tire on my rear right. And within 1 hour, my car is at the Volvo service station and I'm on my way back home in a rental. And this was a pretty amazing experience for me. But a couple of weeks later, I started to figure, is this Volvo on call service designed for me as a customer? Or is it designed for Volvo? Because in the end, it's all about the big data. I showed this slide to a lot of people inside our concern and outside it. And a large group understands it, but a large group don't. Some even deny that this exists. And my job at ICA Real Estate, it's pretty simple, or that's what my boss is telling me. It's to transform us as a real estate company from the linear line to the exponential line. And for those who doesn't have started the journey, I only have one question. If not now, when? Before I go into how I'm going to do this transformation, I'm just going to start by showing this is a traditional business model in the construction business. A few of you guys can relate to this. You have a contractor or a project development, in this case, ICA Properties. Then you have a contractor, then a property owner, and then a tenant. And right now in Sweden, it's a lot about talk about how expensive the construction business is. We're building more and more expensive projects. And the reason why I think that is happening, because all these guys, they have their own agenda and their own profit to look after. At ICA Real Estate, we have different conditions. We're in the whole chain. And our tenant is often a store owner. The only problem with ICA Real Estate that we haven't really taken advantage of this until now. We call our model connected properties. Consists of 3 areas. It's a lot of talking BIM today, but we also talk FIM, Facility Information Modeling. We have the IoT and of course analytics. Each area is as important as the next one. If you start off with BIM, we often start projects like this. And the problem is that this can only carry so much information. Now we start a project with a model, or actually a digital twin. And this twin can carry so much more information rather than a drawing. What we have discovered is one thing for sure. The store owner, the supplier, and the contractor can for the first time talk to each other. It's much more cheaper to move a wall inside this twin rather than it is in the physical building. This twin is from our project in Enköping. I usually say that's our biggest sandbox. We're trying everything here. That's the only way we know how to learn things. The next thing is to fill it with data. The only problem is which data should we start with? And what we do is actually focusing on the facility management. That's where we start the data. We create this twin with Synca, and Petter is going to talk after lunch. And Synca, for us, it's a good partner because they're not only in the construction phase, they're also through the whole chain. So they can help us from A to the whole way. Of course, we need the BIM objects. So we're using BIMobject. Even though BIMobject has, 63 million objects online, for us there are some missing. So what we do together with BIMobject, we go to the suppliers. In this case, ETAB. ETAB is the provider of lighting fixtures, and we have always having problem with our stores with the lighting, because however we build, the store owner thinks it's too dark. No matter how many drawings he has been approving, it's too dark when we're done. And when we talk with ETAB, those guys, they're like, yeah, we're on board. Let's do this BIM system. We heard it's a good system. When we explain this whole chain, they start to believe in it too. But the next question is, what kind of details should the BIM object attain? And what they do is asking us. And ICA in this case becomes the specifier for the BIM object. Then we fill this twin, and when we're pretty satisfied, we can send in other suppliers, as Tumra, Vika, everyone we've been talking to are on. Then we can send in the tenant, or the store owner in this case, and they can, for the first time, review their store in a fun way. And when we made the changes from the store owner, we can go back to ETAB, ask them, how does this look? And ETAB in this case becomes a free consultant. And in my world, that's very rare to find. And in this case, ETAB said to us, why are you using the grid 1800 by 1800 instead of 2000? I wasn't really sure, so I asked them back, why should we? And they said, well, it's pretty easy, Jonas. You're going to save 10% time to install it, and the cost is 10% less. And we have a lot of lighting fixtures in all our stores. The BIM is usually used in the construction phase, but for us, construction, the production cost is just a fraction of the management, of the maintaining the building. So what we do is bring the FM guys into the process from day one. And FM, they are so used to get into the process too late. Now they have the opportunity from day one to tell them how it should be. It all comes down to this, the store owner, he knows the operation the best. ETAB, they know lighting the best. Tumra, they know recycling machines the best. FM, they know facility management the best. The next thing is to use IoT. This is the ventilation room. It's the overall most energy demanding room in the whole building. And today, a lot of these units are controlled by time. If the store is open between 7 in the morning and 10 at night, these units are on. But what if we could treat this room as Anna treated my Volvo? Make it a thing on the internet. First off, we can make the unit talk with other relevant data, such as the weather. If it's going to be a warm day tomorrow, we can compensate with cooler air, make the climate so much better, both for the attendants and the customers. The next thing we could do is we can bring sensor into the game. And with the help from sensors, we can actually see how many that's actually inside the building. A couple of weeks ago, we had election night here in Sweden. Only 15 people were inside the building during that night. You can compensate for that, and in the end, it's all about energy savings. The last part is analytics. Back to the Volvo question. Of course, Volvo On Call is designed for Volvo to keep track on their cars. And that's why analytics is so important for us. Because when you get this gold, this oil, big data, you need to have a way to take care of it. Right now, before this year is ended, we're gonna bring our 100 biggest units online. And the facility management team are having so much more fun at work today. We've only been doing this for a year. But we can already see some effects. First of all, if you don't get it, energy savings, that's our goal. And I've been trying since day one to find other property development or sponsors to kind of benchmark our approach to, and I'm having a hard time finding them. Maybe that's the reason why I'm standing on this stage today. But what I did find was a government grant called the Smart Build Environment. We applied for it for our project in Linköping, and it was approved for 1.5 million kronor, which I take a receipt that we're doing something right. New business models start to pop up for us almost every day. The sensor can tell us how many that's actually inside the building, but it can also say where they're at. This data is very valuable for our attendants. We can pretty much sell this data to the store owner. The last thing I want to say is that we have decided to start. We don't have all the answers, but we know what could happen if you don't start your journey. Having a connected property with a digital twin can be the same value as the physical building itself. Thank you.